Shalom, family. Shalom, shalom. We're going to talk about old Kathy, the New York governor who loves giving money away to anybody except for us. She has not one dime for us. And just take note of that because at the end of the day, this slave commission that she calls herself putting together, they're going to come just like the other ones all around the country, and nothing is going to materialize after the committee submit what their findings are and their recommendations. You're not going to hear another thing. It's going to go dead. And that's how it's been all over the country, where we've had these task force and commissions for slavery. The end result is all the same, which could, which clearly tells you their intent is to give nothing. They just need to play this game on the Black community. How you doing, LVZ? How you doing, KD? And and they're going to do absolutely nothing. They're already showing you this. They're already showing you. And it's always going to be like this, y'all. This is never going to change. They don't want to do anything for us. And I think it is quite obvious. Hmm. And she's just another one trying to play, run game on us. At the end of the day, the slave commission, she's going to come back and tell you the findings, and then you'll find out she don't want to fund it. This is exactly what's going to happen. This is what happened everywhere else. New York is not going to be an exception. So let me share my screen and we'll talk about this. Okay, give me a one if you can see the screen. Please give me a one. Please give me a one if you can see the screen. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about it. Because, this woman is a trip. For anyone else, she seems to find money everywhere. I mean, money is falling from the sky for the migrants, for the Holocaust descendants. It just seems for everybody, money is just falling from the sky. But when it comes down to us, it is not a dime to be had. So her approval rating plunges. And the big reason is the high cost of living. Yeah, it is outrageous in New York. It is absolutely outrageous. Crime and the migrant crisis. So New Yorkers are getting fed up with the governor, whose job approval rating plunged a net 8 points from last month, with voters citing the Empire State's sky high cost of living and the migrant crisis as their top concerns. This is according to a new poll. Those quality of life issues appear to be what dragged down the Democrats, according to the Siena College poll on Tuesday that saw Hochul's favorability. Her rating sank from 41 to 66% down. And then she was from 45 to 42% in January. So her approval rating is continuing to go into free fall. Some 29% of registered New Yorkers polled by the Upstate College said the cost of living was their main concern for the governor and the legislature to address, with the migrant crisis, crime, affordable housing rounding out at the top of the problems on their mind. New Yorkers were clear on the top issues they were concerned about, and they wanted this governor in the legislature to address. Well, those are the same issues they want in Albany to be addressed. The Siena polls, Stephen Greenberg said in a press conference, the cost of living in the state, the recent influx of migrants to New York, crime, and the need for affordable housing were the top issues in the fall. So they're talking about back in September. It remains top issues today. Republicans were more than twice as likely to sound the alarm about the influx of migrants in the state, while Democrats told pollsters they were worried about affordable housing at the rate of more than 6 times as often as the GOP voters. The top three issues Democrats are the cost of living, housing, and migration, Greenberg said. For Republicans, it's migrants, the cost of living, and crime. Independents believe that it's the cost of living, migrants, and crime. Hochul saw her numbers plunge just a month after January Siena poll found um, her positivity favorable I can't even talk favorability ratings had dropped in the last 11 months. So the good news for the governor was that, since she was elevated to power after Andrew Cuomo resigned in 2021, so in the beginning, people thought they saw some promise in her. They did. But that has fallen dramatically. Not anymore. So New Yorkers, they are not feeling this governor at all. So while Democrats think she is an effective, strong leader, overall voters are closely divided. The bad news is voters, including the majority of Republicans, think Hochul is out of touch with average New Yorkers. The same poll found voters would support President Biden over Donald Trump by 12% in a head to head rematch of the 2020 election. There are more people coming forward to say they don't want this Biden Trump rematch at all. That number is growing every day. People are not happy with these two running again. So, in a four-way race, Biden would prevail by 10 points, according to the survey. Now, Nikki Haley is still in the race, and many of the GOP are concerned she could damage things for Donald Trump as long as she remains in the race. I don't even know why she's in the race. The woman is losing in every single state that they have a primary in, and she won't leave the race. And they think those are going to draw votes away from Donald Trump. Her supporters already said if she don't remain in the race, they're voting for Biden. So while a positive indicator for the incumbent, the numbers show that enthusiasm for the president have dampened in the blue state, that he won by 23 points in the last election. Siena College poll registered voters from across the state between February 12th and 14 using landline, cell phones, and online panels. So New Yorkers right now, they are very unhappy with Kathy, and they some of them want her gone. They want her gone. Me, I don't care about this woman because all she do is sit there and find reasons to give everybody money except for the black New Yorkers that are descendants of slaves. Because they did have slaves in New York, ladies and gentlemen. They did. In fact, if you go back and look at the New York history, the majority of New Yorkers had a slave in the household, the majority. But these folks want to tell you only 1% of them were slave owners. That is an outright lie. With 1%, it would never have lasted as long as it did. It had to be far more than that. So, a horrible governor, Tracy R. Nelson, she's a horrible governor, and Adams, a horrible mayor. Yeah, you got that right. I agree with that. Adams on interviews looking so weak and frail, talking about there's nothing they can do. They can't deport people. I ain't never heard of such a thing in my life. You can't deport people. Hmm. Well, there is an article that I saw this morning, and it was written last year. And one of the Congress members were alerting people that Venezuela had emptied out their jails. And he was letting everybody know that those were the very people headed towards the US. And since that happened, they emptied out their jails in 2023. And they're saying the people that we're looking at today, going all the way back to 2022, are those people. That's why the crime is going through the roof, because these are the ones they let go. They said they let a whole bunch of them out of jail and told them to get out of Venezuela. That's why they're all coming here. So I think many of us knew it, because I mean, we're seeing the crime jump up, and they're saying they're forming crime rings and all that, and they're recruiting. In order for you to recruit, you had to be there for a while. And as soon as they get off the bus, these crime rings are recruiting people, and they are just committing crimes almost as fast as they make it into the US. So, and she's partly responsible for that. She's the governor of the entire state. So if you see this going on and you're just sitting there and you're not deporting people and throwing them back over to Venezuela, then what is she doing? I mean, then she's useless. And so is the mayor. I bet you if Americans went to Venezuela and committed crimes, I bet you they would know how to get rid of you. I bet you they wouldn't be refusing to deport them back to America. But you can thank your politicians for coming up with these ridiculous policies where these illegals are now Teflon John up in here. They can't be touched. And here we've been here our whole life, and they're putting people in our community in jail that never committed a crime. Yeah, well, all they're doing is discarding their criminal element and sending them right here to America. It's the same thing Cuba did. If you remember back in the day, Cuba did the same thing. They emptied out their jails and shipped all those people right here to the US. Hmm. They still haven't done anything to those guys that beat on them cops in Times Square. All it said was ICE detained two of them. The other ones were jailed, but they didn't do nothing to they ain't going to look. If you got a policy not to deport, eventually you're going to let these people back out. You're going to let them back out. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in order for them to empty out jails a year ago, this was the plan all along. It was the plan all along, and it's no telling how long it was in place. Remember, Joe Biden made a deal, an oil deal with Venezuela just a few months ago. They sealed a deal to buy oil from Venezuela. And I'm just telling y'all, I bet part of the deal was if they took their people in, they wouldn't do anything to them. And the US went along with it. Of course, I mean, what country wouldn't want to get rid of their criminal element? Of course, they want to get rid of them. Mm-hmm. And you heard what, and I watched a video of Adam saying that they can't change the sanctuary city status. So I guess y'all stuck between a rock and a hard place with all these criminals here now. But Kathy is getting exactly what she deserves. It was what, less than 2 weeks ago she found 183 million to give to Holocaust victims and descendants. And then she's rewriting policy so that she can give state money to the migrants. And that was just a few days ago, and I did the video on that. But still, she has not come out to make no announcements to give anything to the descendants of slaves. You know, whether you think this is a distraction or not, you need to witness this stuff. You really do. You need to witness this stuff from these politicians. And those of you that are thinking of voting, just remember Kathy, she ain't going to give you squat. Okay. When her commission is over, don't expect anything from Kathy because she ain't giving it to you. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, yeah. You know, money can be found everywhere for anyone else except for us. We're always given some excuse, and everybody else is getting money that we really should be getting. And they know it. They know they owe us. They're fully aware of it. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I thank you all for being here. And, just be on the lookout for my videos that are coming up. And, and if I see another really good topic, we'll come back together and do another live stream on it. Shalom, family.